all the jobs that I was going for was all just pretty much money driven and sales driven. And I just don't believe that way you should go about things. I think you got to provide value, and you provide the best programming, and then I think the work that you provide and everything that you do will come. And obviously, in my very early days when I first started, obviously, I didn't have much money. I've never had any handouts in my life. I started pretty much everything from scratch. So when I first started, I was running a boot camp like style class out of Monash University in Melbourne outside. And then on a Tuesday, I was running a running session at Duncan McKinnon, preparing people for running events like Run Melbourne, Run for the Kids.
Welcome back here on Sandy Bay Media for another episode. I'm joined by Kosta over at 747 Fitness, and we're going to have a chat about his role, but also his journey that he's taken in football. We're doing a series looking at different roles within the sport and how people have gotten where they've gotten. Thank you, Kosta, for joining us.
My pleasure, mate. Always good to be on.
Well, it's fantastic to have you here. Well, let's have a look at the very beginning on how you got involved as an S&C coach.
Yeah, so it's so my career pretty much started back in 2010. I studied Cert 3 and 4 in health and fitness. So Cert 3 was group training, and Cert 4 was personal training. Then I started my own business at a very young age of 20 years old. I just started doing general population, so high intensity classes, boxing classes, kickboxing classes, running events, all that sort of stuff. And then I had a girl that came to me.
Yep.
And she's like, I want to get fitter. I want to get faster. I need to drop, 10 kilos. Back then, it was called VPL when she was playing at a really high level. Her coach kind of told her to reach out and find someone to help, a personal trainer. Then I got her the goals that she needed. And then she went back and told her coach. And then her coach gave me a call and said, what can you do? How can you help me better my players, physically and get everybody to a really good standard? So I developed her in the off season. And obviously, in off season is great for football because you can develop all areas, and S&C coaches don't really have to worry about them getting sore or getting tired because they don't have to perform the next day or go to club training. So I performed those, and then I spoke with their coach, and then one thing led to another, and I just did the Cert 3 and 4. And after that, I just wanted to keep upskilling. Like I said, that was back in 2010. I just wanted to know what can I get more. So back then, there was a diploma of sports development in football. So it was called FC11 back then. I spent 1 year there. 1 year. So I was an intern in the strength and conditioning department there for a year. And I was learning off the guys like Michael Chivetti, which is one of my mentors, and Brandon Shacklock. He was down there at the time. Now he's up in Brisbane leading the charge up there at a university.
Yep.
And I spent 1 year with them in the morning in S&C. They'll show me the way they were programming. They were putting everything in place. And then obviously after, when we went back to the classroom, I did all the requirements and all the units that needed to be done for that. So I've learned a fair bit in that 1 year. Once I finished that, I knew there was more growth. So I did a lot of research. Then I ended up spending a good 8-9 months down at Woodford Sports On Consulting in Moorabbin. So I was interning and learning off there. So obviously in your early days, and they just do athletes. So obviously in your early days, you need to put yourself out there. You need to do free work. You need to get your hands dirty, as I say, and then learn as much as you can to get to the level that I'm at. And then after that, I was just, I've got a lot of, a big network of coaches, and I was picking their brain, how they structure things out, how they, how to implement all that sort of stuff. And then I just started looking at short courses and things that are going to make me better as a coach, because I'm not going to study something and to run out there. I'm not going to don't study something just for the sake of studying it. Do something that you're passionate about. So I just started to look, okay, how can I, improve someone's functional movement? How can I find weaknesses and strengths in their bodies? Because that's what, footballers kind of need. How do you know if the left ankle, is not as mobile as the right one, and all that sort of stuff. So I did a functional movement screen, level 1 and level 2. I did that course. And so that gave me a better knowledge. So obviously what I did I studied pretty much that model and then took it to me. And then then I wanted to find out what was more. So I did the Australian Strength and Conditioning level 1 course as well. So obviously that's what I'm passionate about, S&C. And I've done another 4 or 5 small courses as well, just to get me to a good level of education and actually know where I'm at. So pretty much the first club level I was a Bentley Greens in 2014. I was back then. I was with the under 18s under the coach of Tim Dacre. So we just did some performance testing and S&C for his team. And then after that, obviously, like as you know, it's a snowball effect. And people start to hear about me. You do the right thing, you get people results. You provide really good programming and you provide really good sessions, and people will be really happy. And then I just started to, and then I wanted to be like, okay, I really want to be involved in team sports, and then I started, and then the reason why I kind of got more and more into it because I could see the gap in football, especially because I used to play football when I was younger too, and I love football. And I could see there's nobody out there doing any strength and conditioning. It's like you go on the field, and then when you get on the field, all you do is just get the ball and you play with the ball straight away. There's no proper warm up. There's no structure. There's no structure. Players are getting hurt, and the coach is going, "Oh, it's all right, keep going, mate. Do it at 50%." And I just think that's not the right way to go about it. I think I could see there's a big gap in football and S&C and how you can combine them together. And I'm very lucky the clubs that I'm working with now, I've been there for, for 4 or 5 years, like Southern United in the, really good culture down there, and they really care about the players, and, they can see, what I'm trying to do. And then I can see what they're trying to do from a football side, and everything just ties all together and we work really good as a unit. So it's a no-brainer to manage players and making sure they're injury free, because what good are you if you've got all these players there and then they're constantly injured and they're constantly missing games because of soft tissue injuries? That could all be prevented. So that's how I kind of started to get more passionate about team sports, because I've just really, and still to this day, I really want to change the way, coaches think. It's not about, we're still very stuck in a very old school mentality. It's more like, come there and then run 5-6 laps for warm up. And then they're still doing dynamic stretching like that. That still happens. And I still see that a fair often. But then you ask the coach when I go there, well, why are we doing this? Because that's what I used to do. But what he did 40 years ago necessarily doesn't work now. And times have changed, and there's a lot of, science out there. There's a lot of stuff that's been changed, and there's a lot of statistics how just changing, little certain, warm-ups, even like FIFA 11 came out and did that warm-up, which is a very, very great thing that they've done as well. And then, some coaches are implementing that as well. And then, and the statistics have showed that's actually help players, and the stats are that they can reduce the likelihood of injury.
Fantastic. That's it's amazing to hear, and the journey you've been there. Well, still with us, Costa?
Yeah, I'm listening to you, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's absolutely brilliant to hear, and just seeing that level of passion, and you can definitely see it in the work that you do with the players that you work with and the clubs you're involved with. So it's great to see that kind of level. Let's have a look at how going from being an S&C coach to now going, well, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to go and take this to the next level. How did that come about?
Yeah, I pretty much started my business at a very young age. I was 20 years old when I started 747 Fitness.
Yeah.
I pretty much did my Cert 3 and 4 back in when I was 18 years old, which is like pretty much fresh out of high school. I tried to do a lot of jobs. I went to a lot of job interviews when I've just finished qualified, as you can, and you're trying to get your hands dirty. But I just didn't like the way they operated. It was a lot of upselling, and and it's just all about making money, which is fair enough. You got to make a living, but it's like you got to do it the right way. And I could see through all those jobs that all the jobs that I was going for was all just pretty much money driven and sales driven. And I just don't believe that way you should go about things. I think you got to provide value, and you provide the best programming, and then I think the work that you provide and everything that you do will come. And obviously, in my very early days when I first started, obviously, I didn't have much money. I've never had any handouts in my life. I started pretty much everything from scratch. So when I first started, I was running a boot camp like style class out of Monash University in Melbourne outside. And then on a Tuesday, I was running a running session at Duncan McKinnon, preparing people for running events like Run Melbourne, Run for the Kids. And then I was using the gym that I'm still in now on a Saturday morning, running a fitness class there. So it kind of started like that, just to get the name out there and then show people what I can do. And obviously early days, you need experience. So I was constantly inviting people my network to come and train with me. I was offering, a lot of free stuff. I said, look, let me do this for you, and then let me see, these are the results that I want you to get. Can you please follow this program? So I tried a lot of stuff early on with certain people to be able to say that, hey, I can train you, I can get you results. So that's how it come about. And then obviously, the work that you do, then word just spreads. And then obviously you evolve over time, then you change your structures, you change your systems, and then you can see what you can add, and you can keep adding on. So obviously, as the years have gone on, I've just evolved. I've evolved the gym, I've evolved the equipment, I've evolved my programming, my structuring, my reporting, my wellness, all that sort of stuff from all aspects. I've just, obviously just trying to go to that next level and always keep upskilling. Just, it's more about, providing the clients that I have with the best tools they can, and tools that they can take away from me, and then they can put that into the sport or into their everyday life and become better people, because I don't do this just for a transaction.
That's fantastic. Well, fantastic journey you've been on. What's one moment or something that's really stood out for you, or something that you're really happy with that you've done so far?
Look, for me, I love, as you know, I love young athletes, but I love seeing all the young athletes that I have come up through the ranks. And regardless if they don't make it in sport, because obviously we know it's only a handful that make it, is just to be able to, grow into great people, and then do something that they're really passionate about and ask me for advice and reach out to me, and then I can help them put on the right path, if it's the right uni course, or even like young Nishan Villapali. He's one of my athletes that I had, when he was 14 years old. Now he signed a contract at a Victory. For me, it's like seeing him as a young kid come through all these years, so humble, hardworking, every day he puts in work day in, day out, has never given up, stayed the course, and now he's reaping the rewards.
No, it definitely is rewarding.
It's probably the most rewarding thing ever, and just to see them come through and you see them grow up. It's a pleasure, and you can help them, guide them. For me, that's pretty much like my purpose, is just to really help guide these kids and be like a mentor for them, and then really guide them in the right direction in life as well.
Oh, that's excellent. And so obviously you mentioned quite a few things that you've picked up and you've learned. If there was something that you could go back and that you wish you knew at the start of your journey, what would that be?
Oh man, I'm pretty much self-taught. I'm not self-taught as in like accounting and taxes and all that sort of stuff. I wish I knew that stuff earlier than trying to figure it out all myself. It takes me like 3-4 years. And I'm like, man, I don't like running this start of the business. I just want to coach.
Yeah.
I just want to be a coach. I want to provide everyone that I get through the door as the service as best as possible. And I don't like that area of the business. I don't like that money sort of thing. I just love people, and I love coaching day in, day out. I've done this for 10 years, and I think like my passion is growing more and more as I do this. It's just, I just don't like that sort of things. And I wish I knew earlier how tax worked, the GST worked, and all that sort of stuff, and I wouldn't made so many mistakes.
No, I can completely relate to that. So that's understandable. And just looking at sort of, obviously you've got a business you're running, you've done a fantastic job in the community. What's sort of the next step, or what would you like to see it going?
Yeah, look, I just a lot of people talk about growth, and people are going to be, what's your next step? Like you've got a decent business, you've got a decent following, you've got a good amount of people. But for me, it's like the smaller you keep it, you keep the quality.
Yeah.
So people try to go too big. So I've had the same place, and everyone goes to me, "Oh, you should have moved out. You should have done this. You should have done that. You should have expanded." But it's like, well, I'm more about quality than quantity.
Yeah.
If I can provide the best as possible, and just I'll just start. I really would love to just keep bleeding in. Young athletes. Coming through from as young as 10, 11, and then really building them up, and then just keep going like that. And I really want to develop next batch of coaches as well. Like I've got a couple of interns now that are starting to really fall in love with the SNC, because a lot of people don't like, I don't know, for some reason, I don't like doing junior athlete development. They just like them having in when they're seniors and they have a name. But for me, it's like I'd rather have them when they don't have a name. They've never really made it. They're not at a good level, and then see them go through all that journey and step by step. For me, it's more rewarding. So if I can keep bleeding in, more athletes, more people that want a better quality, and that's what I want to do. At the moment, times are tough. You got COVID. I've got a gym, and it's not operating, and the bills don't stop. So it's that's a hard thing.
Always as well. Well, thank you for joining us and thank you for sharing your journey. I think you've been on a great ride and I think you've given some great advice to myself and people that are watching. So appreciate that.
Nah, anytime, mate. Anytime. Pleasure being on the show. I love it.